Hi, everyone. My name is Brian McElroy. I'm a senior reporting consultant here at SAP Concur. Thank you for joining today's call and demo for beginners to intermediate training for intelligence and mastering reporting schedules. So today's agenda, we're going to go over a variety of topics when it comes to reporting and scheduling. So the first agenda item we're going to be talking about is prompts and value prompts and all the different prompts that we do offer when it comes to report building. The next section is going to be scheduling, followed up by a report view, and then we're going to go into a deep dive into that live demo, how to create a report schedule, but also how to create a custom prompt so you can schedule that report up properly. And lastly, if you have any questions, feel free to put those in the chat, and myself and my team will help answer those questions along the way. So our first poll question, I love to gauge the room, get the temperature of the room to understand where your reporting skills are at currently. Are you unfamiliar with reporting? Are you a beginner, intermediate, or an expert? I typically, when I work with my clients, they're in that beginner to intermediate. So I think this is a great position to be in, because then you can take these skills and bring them into your day-to-day work life after this demo. So what are prompts? That's a big question that you might understand. What a prompt page is it a filter? But prompts are essentially questions that you kind of create to build those reports. So it acts as questions to help users customize the information in a report to suit their own needs. So prompts consist of three main components. You have that prompt object. A parameter is your second component. And then the third is a parameter filter, which is essentially, it's a filter that puts the stored parameter to use. What you see on your screen are three different types of prompts that I use on a daily basis when I build reports. And this might be new to you, or you've probably seen this before, but the most common, starting from the left-hand side of the screen, is going to be a value prompt. That is, typically you see this on custom fields. In this example, we are creating a prompt for expense type. So you can use this for a payment type, you can do this for a custom field, but for this example, we're looking at expense type, so you can search for only thing that is pertaining, let's just say parking you want to look at, or per diem meals. You can run a report based off of just those values. So that's your value. The next is going to be your search and select. You typically see this when, let's just say, I think the most common is probably employee name. If there's a variety of, let's just say, a most common user surname would be Smith or Jones, and there's a multiple combinations within your company. A search and select by typing in Jones and then only filtering for those individuals with that last name will help narrow down that search. Or you can do it by employee ID or et cetera. But search and select is another great filter to use when it comes to your prompt page. And lastly is a date prompt. You typically see this on pretty much every report if it's not hard-coded. This is going to be an in-range, so it could be based off of sent for payment to transaction date to posted date. This is going to give you that range from when you want to run the report to when you want it to finish. So these are the three most common types of prompts within Cognos. Scheduling made for you. This is definitely, I hope, we can probably change the frustrations that this individual that you see in this picture is facing. I know that I have in the past felt this way when it comes to reporting. Hopefully, maybe you can relate to this individual, but reporting can be very difficult when it comes to those month ends or quarter ends. You have all these specific deadlines, and it could be based off of invoice with PO matching to just a typical expense accrual to employees traveling, all these different factors wound up into one, and you're under deadlines. Hopefully, and I guarantee you, with the scheduling feature that we do offer here at SAP Concur, will help solve these issues, and you can relieve that stress and that frustration of running thousands and hundreds of reports. We can actually have those reports scheduled to you so you can focus on other areas of opportunities within your company. So why schedule? So it increases efficiency by ensuring timing delivery of reports. It allows for customization of report content and frequency of delivery. It provides a secure and reliable way to distribute important information. And lastly, it automates the report delivery streamline processes to help organizations stay informed and react to changes in a timely manner. We want to make this as simple, like creating that simplicity, creating this as simple and easy to use, so you can focus on other things, and rather than being rushed to run these reports manually, the scheduling feature eliminates that whole process. Our next poll question is, how many reports do you currently have scheduled? So if you're very new to reporting in Cognos, you don't have any, I would obviously select that none. But if you have that 1 to 5, are you in that 6 to 10 range, or are you 10 or greater? Hopefully, what I suggest, and hopefully you can get to this point, is if you're in that 1 to 5, or even none, or 6 to 10, you can get to that 10 to plus. Because again, it saves time. It creates that secure, efficient delivery of those reports. And so after this demo, and I teach you how to schedule a report, hopefully you'll get to that 10 to plus. All right, these next couple slides are going to be based off of housekeeping. I just want to set you up for success. So before we start taking a deep dive into the actual demo piece, let's just make sure that all of our I's are dotted and T's are crossed, and make sure that we have that housekeeping piece situated, all fixed and corrected. So scheduling reporting roles. I think the most important piece is understanding what roles you can have within a Cognos license to schedule reports. So the highest level, a super user per se, that we can is going to be called a professional author. You have 10 licenses to give individuals within your organization that role, followed by a business author, which is 20. These roles have the ability to schedule reports. The professional author is that super user. You have access to Report Studio, while business author, you only have access to Query Studio. That's just important when it comes to using the reporting tool that we're going to be using today. So having that professional author access is key for this demo. But if you want to understand who has access, if they're an active or inactive user within your company, on the bottom of your screen, I do have a report path of all of our standard reports that we offer to all of our intelligence customers, and analysis as well, to show what roles you can run the employee roles report under the administration folder. And by selecting the Cognos Professional Author, Business Author, you can see the individuals within your company who has access. And you can do as you wish on if you have to remove people with access or add people, run that report so you can understand who within your company has access to those roles. All right, scheduling rules. Another housekeeping slide would be reports must contain a calculated filter for a given period. So weekly, monthly, quarterly. You do not want to schedule reports using a date range. If you run January 1st to today, which is August 5th of 2024, if you run this for the next month of September 5th of 2024, it's only going to contain August's information from January. So having a hard-coded filter will kind of a set it and forget it kind of mentality, where you create a hard-coded filter to only look for the prior month, and you can run that every single month, and it's always going to be pulling the previous month's data. So have that hard-coded filter for a given period, and the schedule frequency must be consistent. So when you're setting up your schedule, make sure that you're selecting it the first of the month, the second of the month, or let's just say at a quarterly view every 3 months. And Also, reports must be saved and scheduled within your public environment. Make sure if you're saving these reports into my folders that if you want to save a second copy, make sure you save that in your public environment so you can get a better understanding of where all the reports are. And lastly, if you have a favorite standard report, you want to schedule that, you have to move that over to your public environment, to your company's folder. And that's simply a copy and paste into another folder, but you cannot schedule a standard report within your environment. You have to move that over to your public environment. Next section is time zones. Very, very important. A lot of people forget about this, but when you log into your Intelligence Cognos homepage, under My Preferences, there is a time zone section. It's automatically defaulted to GMT time. Make sure you just switch that over to where you reside. It's very important to understand that, just based off of when the data archive runs every night. You just want to make sure that you're having the most up-to-date data. So having it scheduled based off of your time zone and when it's going to be delivered is key and crucial. So if you're Eastern Standard like myself, I want to receive this at 8 a.m. The first of every month. I know that I'm always going to receive that at 8 a.m. by switching it to the Eastern Standard of New York. So we can kind of go over that when we go in the demo piece, but keep in mind, change that time zone. All right, next poll question is, how many individuals can receive a scheduled report? This is kind of I didn't cover it yet, and I just want to kind of gauge the room and if you understand, is there a cap or is there not? So is it only one individual can receive it, 2, 10, 25, or is there no limit? So to answer that question, it is actually no limit. You can put as many usernames, or if it's like an SFTP domain, many users are going to receive that. But if it's just a distro list, you can put as many email addresses as you want when it comes to who's going to receive those reports. And before we take a deep dive into the actual demo piece, a quick side note is I like to talk about report views. The report view is another added feature within scheduling, which creates, it's a linked copy of a source report. So in this example that you see on your screen, you have a source report. And if I think the perfect example would be a payment type. If you want to create, if you have 3 different payment types, Amex, Visa, and MasterCard. And instead of running one report and then filtering it in Excel, you can create 3 different report views based off of each payment type. And then the great thing about a report view is whatever change that you need to make, if you want to add additional fields or remove columns, you don't have to make changes to 3 separate reports. You just have to make the change to the source report, and then it will automatically trickle down into those report views. So keep that in mind. It's a great feature when it comes to scheduling and using those parameters. All right, I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to take a little deep dive into our demo. So you may be familiar, you may be unfamiliar, but this is your Cognos home, your SAP Concur Cognos home screen when it comes to intelligence. There's a couple housekeepings that I did talk about is understanding this little person icon, and there's a couple sections that we'll go over. My preferences is where we'll find that time zone. So make sure you select time zone and you change it to where you reside. The next piece that I like to talk about is my schedules and subscriptions. This is a great tool that we added into this new Cognos version, where you will have that 10,000-foot view of understanding under your names or your credentials what is currently scheduled for you and under your credentials. So what we can see here, I actually went back and disabled some of the ones that I scheduled prior, but right now under my name, I can see that I have 5 disabled reports. And if there's anything that was enabled that is currently on a frequency, once a month, once a week, whatever you set it as, it will show up as enabled. So if you're receiving that email like, oh my gosh, where did I get this report? Like I didn't sign up for this, or how do I turn this off? Going to this little person icon under My Schedules and Subscriptions, hitting the drop-down button under Define Schedule. This will give you that 10,000-foot view of understanding what is currently active and what is currently disabled under your name, and you can act accordingly. But for today's demo, we're going to do 2 different things. We're going to create a hard-coded filter, and we are going to create a prompt for that. And then we're also going to create a value prompt. So a value prompt, as in, we're going to create using a custom field, employee custom 21, which is standard across all of our customers. We're going to use that as I think it's expense group ID. We're going to create a filter for that, a hard-coded filter for the date, and then we're going to schedule this report. So we're going to kind of do 3 things when it comes to this demo. So if I go back to our home screen, on the left-hand side, if you go to Team Content, we're going to use a standard report. So if you go under Intelligence, Standard Report, we're going to use, the most common is either an accrual or an expense processing. We're going to use an expense processing report. So everything that has been sent for payment. We are going to use expense entry analysis grouped by employee. And if you hover over these 3 little dots, and again, you have to have the professional author access to make these changes. We're going to hit Edit the Report. Now, with this is going to be your canvas. This is everything that I use on a daily basis when it comes to report building. So if I go to, you have your 3 little dots that we opened, we edit the report. We have report, we have pages. If we go to the report and we go to schedule, I'm sorry, not schedule, please go to queries. You can see here, these are the 3 queries that make up the report. These 2 that end in PR are for our prompts and our prompt page. And everything that makes up the report is under the final query called query. Now, we talked about date ranges. You can't have a report with a date range. It has to be hard-coded. So we need to find the date. Since this report is using a date range, we need to disable this report. So let's look for Semper payment in range. On the right-hand side, you have under usage. You have the ability to make it required, optional, or disabled. Since this is using in range, which is considered a date range, we are going to disable this. We no longer need that because it will not work for scheduling. The next piece of what we're going to do is under the sources, we're going to go to the Concur Data Warehouse. We're going to go to expense. We're going to expense reports. We are going to go to the header information, the common report header. The common report header filters, and we're going to select the filters based on Semper payment date. And we're going to hit this drop down again. Under here is it's already a pre-built selection that you can use that are hard-coded. So since we're not going to use a date range, we're going to use a hard-coded filter. And let's just use an example of, I want to set this report up to be containing the previous month's data, and I'm going to schedule this to be sent on the 1st of the month of every month. So what we'll have to do is under the Semper payment, we are going to look for last of month based on Semper payment. And we're just going to click and drag and drop here. And you can see here now, the last of month based on Semper payment is now the selection, and that is set as required. So if I run this report, it's always going to be pulling the previous month's data. That's kind of, we look at a checkbox. We talked about setting up a date range, removing that, and hard coding it to be the previous month. Check. Let's go to the next section, and that is going to be the expense group ID, that custom field. We're going to create a value prompt together, and we want to make this a little bit customizable. And to do so, we are going to use a filter. So if you go to our toolbox, right next to sources, and we drag a filter, we're going to drop it in next to that center payment. And we are going to look for expense reports, the report header information. And we're going to scroll down a little bit further, and all the custom fields are going to be located under a folder called additional. So it's either additional employee details or additional report details. We're going to go to additional employee details. And we're going to scroll down a little bit further down, and we're going to look for employee custom 21. And we're going to use the name. So once you drop it in there, or if you double click, it will populate here. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a filter parameter together. So we're going to type in the words in ? And for me, I actually like to spell things out completely just so it's a little bit easier. And I'm going to write expense group ID. And then after each expression, you have to end it with a question mark for this example. So I found employee custom 21 in ? expense group ID ? And you simply hit OK. Another factor is I like to switch this to optional, because if I left this as required, this means every time I run the report, I have to select a expense group ID for this report to run. I'm going to leave it as optional. So if I just want to run for all the expense group IDs, that's fine. If I want to look for a specific one, I'll simply select it. So optional. Great. Let's click the queries in between report and query, and we have to create a expense group ID prompt. So we are going to right click, and I like to label everything just to be consistent. Expense group ID prompt, or you can do PR, whatever your preference is. But now I know that this is going to be a prompt for containing those values. We're going to double click that query, and we are going to click sources. And we're going to, just as we found that in the filter when we created that expression, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to find that data item under and we're just going to drop it in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to look for report header information, additional employee details, and we're going to scroll down. We're going to look for employee custom 21 name. I like to remove blanks just in case if there is any when it comes to selecting any values. So what I like to use is less than, greater than, and two quotes, single quotes. So this expression is saying to remove any blanks within the expense group ID selection. So I'm going to hit OK. And simply, it's just a drag and drop. Awesome. So we are almost there. We're going to go under the reports. We're going to go to our page. For my own preference, I like to use a different view. So I'm going to hit these three little dots, and I'm just going to cut this. Don't hit delete, just hit cut, because if you delete any of this, all of the data items within the queries will be deleted. So make sure you always cut. That's kind of like a rule of thumb when it comes to reporting. I like to just simply cut this out. And I'm going to go back to the data items. So all of these reports, it's going to be based off of query. So I'm just simply going to hit Shift Control, and I'm going to click down to select all of these data items. And I'm just going to drag and drop. And there you go. If I want to put a total, simply click in within the cell, and under the summarize, you just hit total. So this will give me a running total at the bottom. It's just a little bit of a cleaner view, in my opinion. The next step is we're going to go to the report and we're going to go to the prompt page. So this is when you run the report, this is what you see. You have those predetermined questions, as I said earlier in our call, of what would you like to run in order for this report? What values would you like to select to filter down to run this report? Since this is no longer available, since we disabled it, we're actually going to cut this out. So we're just going to hit cut, and we are going to delete this entire row on the prompt page. And the reason why is because we have this hard-coded to be the previous month's data. The last step that we have to do is we need to create a value prompt together using that expense group ID expression. So to do so, I am going to find under the toolbox, under prompting, is value prompts. We're going to drag and drop. It's going to be either create a new parameter or we're going to use an existing. We're going to use an existing because we created that expression with those question marks in question mark expense group ID question mark. And here it is. The next step is we also created an expense group ID query. So we need to go to, on the right-hand side, under queries, you're going to look for that expense group ID prompt, or PR. And the use value and display value, we're just simply selecting employee custom 21. Now, the next step is let's put a text item here, and we're just going to write expense group ID. And similar to like Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, any of those platforms, you have that formatting painter. You can use this little icon right here. It's called Apply Styles. We are going to select all styles, and we're going to click into the cell, and we're going to hit the actual icon, and it brings over the same color scheme. So you don't have to worry about trying to move a dial to match the coloring. It will pull exactly what the background color is. All right, wonderful. So let's go back to the queries, and just for testing purposes, let's actually add that employee custom 21 to the actual report. So if I do select something, I want to make sure that it's in the report. So I'm simply going to put employee custom 21 here. And under the label, I'm actually going to relabel this, because if I ran this report, the header would actually say employee custom 21. This is now going to say expense group ID. And I'm going to go back to our page, select the data items, and I'm going to put expense group ID. Let's just put it, you can put it anywhere. It doesn't matter, whatever your preference is, but I'll put it right next to the report. So now every time I run this report, it will show what expense group ID this employee is a part of. So for testing purposes, we can run this report really quickly. We'll hit Run HTML. And you can see here, this is our custom value prompt that we created that we can select from. But just for testing, we're just going to hit Finish. And you can see here, we hard-coded this to be the previous month. For testing, you can see here that you will only see the month of July in the Sent for Payment column. So now it's automatically hard-coded. All right, let's save this as a copy. And I'm going to put this in our public folder because we have to save this in our public folder. And I'm going to put today's date. Save. And now we have that last piece, the scheduling. How do we schedule this report? Let's go to the actual report. So we have this saved under my company name. I have it saved in a separate folder, but under the three little dots, you're going to see the properties level. This is where you can schedule your report. You're going to select schedule. And if it hasn't been scheduled, you're going to see this page of saying create a schedule. Now, these are the steps. Very simple. Frequency. When do you want to receive this? The report is hard-coded to be the previous month. So we would like to schedule this monthly. We wanted to receive it on the 1st of every month. And this is going to start on September 1st. And I want to change this to, let's just say 8 a.m. The next section, once you have your frequency set up, you're going to select options, and you want to select Excel. That's the most common. By selecting Excel, you have to uncheck HTML. It automatically defaults to HTML. You want to hit send a report via email. If you scroll down under delivery. And the next section is going to be edit the details. This is where those distros, the unlimited amount of emails that you want to plug in, you would simply plug this in. So I would write b.mcelroy@sap.com. And you can put any custom messaging in this body email. And then lastly, the most important rule of thumb as well is you have to make sure that you attach the report. This is unchecked. Yes, you would receive the email, but there would be no attachments. So make sure that toggle is moved. And lastly, if there is a prompt, it'll actually pull up that prompt page of that specific report. You can see here, if I want to run this report to only look for a specific expense group ID, I would select the ones at hand. If you want to run it for everything, you don't have to hit select all. It'll automatically pull everything. Or by specific expense type, you can do so. But I'm not going to run it for any specific parameter. But I'm just going to hit finish, hit save. So it says your schedule was successfully created. To double check that, if you would like, you can go back to your schedule and subscriptions. And if I actually refresh this page or hit this little refresh, this is now moved from 1 now to 5. This was actually 0, now it's moved to 1. You can see here that there has been one report now that's active that we just created. Now, let me go back to our presentation. So just a couple side notes. So please remember to complete the survey for this session. And if there's any others you attended today, we read every response to improve for future events. So we really value your feedback, and you can, any feedback that you can share is greatly appreciated. And when it comes to our community, the SAP Concur community is a great way to connect to peer-to-peer networking and insights from subject matter experts. So also, it's the best practice to keep up to date for live events and support resources. And Champion program. SAP Concur Champions is an exciting customer program that is designed to celebrate our most passionate, engaged customers working day to day with our SAP Concur solutions. As a champion, you'll have access to a range of opportunities to build your professional profile and connect with fellow SAP Concur customers around the world. With that, I just want to say thank you so much for joining. If you have any questions, please ask away. This is my contact information. Hopefully you took away some key pieces of information of, number one, understanding what you need to have in place to schedule reports when it comes to this housekeeping. What are prompts? And then how to create a prompt, how to hard code a report, which we went over. And then lastly, that scheduling piece. We walked through the feature on the front end of clicking those three little dots and selecting those properties. That way you can set up your frequency and delivery. So now that heartache of and frustration and stress that you might face on a month's end or even on a daily basis of trying to get to these reports, and you have other things that's going on in your life, work-wise, this scheduling piece, hopefully in this demo, you can take away some key points and you can make your life easier so you can focus on other things within your company. So with that being said, thank you so much for joining and speak to you soon.